My name is Julie Fayfan Balzer, and I'm super excited today to show you how we're going to make this gorgeous jelly print. We're going to cut out some stencils and masks using the Brother ScanNCut. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my designs to create my masks. And I just have some plain white copy paper here and a permanent black marker. This is a Sakura Permapaque. You could use a Sharpie, whatever you like. I like to use a marker just because I think the line is heavier and it's easier for the machine to read. So I'm just thinking about what I want to do, and I'm thinking sometimes instead of thinking you need to just get your hand moving. So I'm making these kind of circle-y shapes, and then I'm going to draw a line through them. And then again, to make it easier for the machine, sort of where the circle meets and there's a burr, I'm just going to go ahead and fix that up a little bit and make sure it's more of a smooth-ish line. Okay. And then maybe I'll do the same thing, slightly smaller, add some variety to the whole thing. Because remember, once you scan it in, you can cut multiples of whatever you're doing, so you don't have to worry about, drawing the same thing more than once. That's the great thing about the ScanNCut. You draw it once and you cut it 500,000 times. So I'm doing just a couple variations of this shape, and I'm not worrying at all about lines crossing in this case because I know that I can just do an outline scan, and when we get to the machine, that'll be a lot more obvious what I'm talking about. Okay, so here is a sheet of little masks that I want to cut. But here's a quick tip. Because this is thin copy paper, if I put this in here, the lines from the scanning mat do show through a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I just have a plain piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to slip that right behind there so that the lines from the cutting mat, that I just called the cutting mat, the line from the scanning mat doesn't show through at all. So that's just an easy way to make sure you get a good result. I'm going to go ahead and load the scanning mat into the machine, and then I'm going to choose scan. I want to scan to cut data. I'm going to press the start button, and that's going to suck that in and scan it for me. Now, once the machine scans it, it'll come up onto my monitor, and I want to choose the first scanning option, which is an outline scan, so that I don't get any of those inner lines. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drag the arrows right around my design to eliminate any of the lines that are there from the background image or the edge of the paper or whatever else it may be. Once it's set, I'm going to go ahead and press save, and I need to choose whether I want to save it into the machine's memory or to USB. Those are the two symbols. I'm going to choose the machine's memory, and then the machine will tell me exactly what it is saving the file as so that I can find it later when I need it. And then I'm simply going to press the home button to go back to the home screen, hit OK, and I'm going to unload that scanning mat, because the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to load in a cutting mat, which I already have some plain white cardstock on, and I'm going to put that in the machine and get ready to go. So I'm going to choose pattern, save data from the machine, and find that thing that I just scanned. There it is. Hit OK, and now I want to scan in the paper. So the machine's going to scan it, and you can see it appearing right there. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select all, and I'm going to drag all those pieces so that they fit perfectly on my paper, and I know exactly where it's cutting. So I hit OK, I hit cut, press the start button, and the machine is going to do all the work. I do make sure that I set my blade at the right level. That's a 5 for me. It may be different for you. Do a test cut if you're not sure. The machine is going to cut. We're going to go into fast forward to see this done very quickly. And once it finishes cutting, I'm going to pull it off, and I'll have 4 pieces, a stencil, and then 3 little masks that are ready to use. I've got my Gelli Plate here, and I'm going to put out some acrylic paint onto it. I'm just rolling it out with a brayer. I may not have put enough out, so I'll put a little more on. And then I'm going to continue to roll with my brayer. And I'm just going, making sure I'm going in both directions so that everything is nice and smooth. And I can clean my brayer off, just rolling it onto this piece of paper. Then I'm going to take the back of a paintbrush, and I'm just doodling into it. Nothing spectacular or hard, just getting some nice shapes and texture onto here. I'm simply removing the paint with the handle of my paintbrush. And when I am satisfied and I like the look of it, then I'm going to take a piece of paper and I'm just going to press it down to my plate so that I can pick up the paint. And you'll see there's my first print with a very subtle pattern in it. And I'm just going to clean up the plate now by taking a piece of deli paper and getting a print off of there. And you can see things are even a little more defined, I feel like, in this print. Next step is I'm going to take some more paint, different color. In fact, why don't we go crazy? Why don't we mix up 2 colors? It's getting insane in here. So I'm going to take a little bit of dark blue and a lot of teal. And I'm just going ahead and rolling them, oops, right across my plate until I have good coverage again, going in both directions and all over the place. There you go. I do offer an online jelly printing class if that's something that you're interested in. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and I can add in some more doodles if I want. You don't have to. I like the doodles. And then I'm going to take the masks that we cut with the Brother ScanNCut and I'm going to go ahead and put them, I got some paint on that one, so on my plate however I would like. I feel like you can even overlap them like there. So now these are obviously going to block the paint. So I'm going to take this print that we made, I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to print for the second time. And I'm just rubbing with my hand to pull that paint right off. Ooh, and when I pull it up, look how cool that is, right? I've got my 2 layers. But I don't want to waste this, so I'm going to go back to my deli paper where I cleaned it up. And I'm going to go ahead and do another print on top of that as well. Looking pretty good. And now my paper masks are nice and painty, and I can definitely use those in a mixed media project of some kind because I've now colored them beautifully. And there's even some paint left on here, so I might go ahead and rub again. This is my cleanup sheet, so I'm not worried about how it looks. I just want to pick up that excess paint. So now I'm going to put my 3rd layer on. So I'm going to take a 3rd color, this nice red. I'm going to go ahead and roll that out onto my plate. This is just the same process over and over, very zen, very easy going. And I'm just rolling it out, rolling it out, rolling it out, rolling it out. And again, cleaning my brayer simply onto the scrap paper that I'm working on top of, which of course is not going to go to waste. I'll probably end up incorporating this into an art project of some kind at some point. Nothing goes to waste. Then I'm going to take this, which is the, it's sort of the stencil version of the masks that we created. I'm going to put it right down there. And then I'm going to take my print, this print that we did, and I think I'm going to go slightly off. So you see, I didn't cover the whole thing. So if I want to protect my hands, I can take this cleaning paper and I can go ahead and put it on top. And now I'm just rubbing to make sure that all of that paint gets transferred onto my main print. And you know, if some of the paint transfers onto the back, I'm not that worried about it. So when I pull it up, ooh, look how cool that is, right? Now I have double the trouble. And again, there's still more paint on here, and of course this is now beautifully painted and could definitely be incorporated into something. But I'm going to take that clean up paper, once again, clean up the remaining paint from this plate. Now I just have a cool piece of textured and colored paper to incorporate into my art. But more importantly, I have this absolutely gorgeous print that I can use for a variety of things, or maybe just hang right on the wall.
Thanks so much for playing with me. If you'd like some more info, tutorials, all that kind of stuff, please visit my blog at balzerdesigns.typepad.com. You can also find out more about the Brother ScanNCut at scanncut.com.